Hello everyone, I hope you are all well. Join me today in this lovely room and we'll be practicing to start with a little bit of mobilisation of the wrists and the upper body. We'll start seated. In order to be comfortably seated, you may well want to have a block or a brick at hand. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to sit on those in Virasana. So remember, Virasana would be the hero's posture when the knees are together and the legs are wide out to the side. And you sit comfortably. Some of you may be able to sit directly on the floor, or you may want to have your legs extended, or even your cross-legged as you would normally. Let's start by arriving a little bit in our body and on our mats. Take the palms facing up towards the ceiling, relax the shoulders, crown of the head up towards the ceiling and close your eyes. And let's here take about 5 breaths. Starting to drop into your body to notice what it's like to be you today. And take another couple of breaths. Notice the expansion of the body as you inhale and the release as you exhale. Let's take one more breath. Open your eyes when you are ready to. Let's release the hands down. Mobilising the wrists and the arms, we'll actually first start with the neck a little bit. So from this you're going to inhale, and then as you exhale, gaze over towards your left. Inhale back through towards the centre, gaze over towards your right. Twice more. Inhale to the centre. Exhale to the left. Inhale to the centre. Exhale to the right. And again once more. Coming back through towards the centre now. We're going to take the front of the throat towards the back of the neck. Lengthening the back of the neck, but also giving you a little bit of extra padding underneath there. We're going to inhale, gaze down. Starting to stretch a little bit into the back of the neck and into the trapezius. Inhale, back to the center, exhale, up. Inhale to the center and then down. Exhale, bring the gaze back through towards the center and then up. So we're lengthening the front of the throat, we're not narrowing the distance into the back of the neck. Once more to the center and down. Back to the center and up. Come back to the center. Let's take some shoulder rolls. Just a couple forward and a couple back. There we go. And then from here, you're going to take the hands forward and then start to just simply scrunch your fingertips and then release. So just a little bit of movement into those fingers, just noticing how they feel like today. And then we're going to take wrists rotations in one direction and then in the other direction. Good, release the palms. And then from this, you're going to push the fingers back. So you have the right hand forward, take the left hand to the fingertips and push those fingertips back. Come back to the center. This time you're going to push the thumb down. Come back through towards the center this time. Hand on top of the other hand so that you can close the hand down. Notice all the work that is happening into your wrists. Let's release. Take a shoulder roll and in the other direction. Do this on the other hand. So you have the hand straight, pull the fingers back. Notice the difference in sensations from one side to the other. Release, move on to the thumb, so you're pushing the thumb down. Imagine that you have a 90-degree angle there. That's not going to happen. And if it is, hopefully you're not popping out any of your fingers. And release, we're going to now take the hand on top so that we can feel the stretch into the front of the wrist. And then we'll release, and then take a little bit of a floppy movement here from side to side and up and down. And now, just to trick you a little bit, can you do one up and down as you go side to side? Oh, no, that's really difficult. And then the other one, well, I'm not even sure myself anymore. So well done. From there, we'll take cat-cow, but in a seated posture. So whether you've got your cross-legged or legs extended, or as I am in Virasana, you're going to interlace the fingers, and then as you exhale, round into your back. So you're rounding and looking towards your thighs. Inhale, come back, stretch the arms out, elbows to shoulder height, popping your chest forward, but keeping the length into the back. 3 more times. So you exhale, you round. You inhale, you come up. Exhale, you round. Inhale, you come up. Let's do this one last time. So you exhale, you round. You inhale, you come up. And then from this, let's move into the elbows. So you're going to move, making some little circles here. You might already be feeling that this is quite a lot in the shoulders as well. So in the other direction. We want to bring a little bit of warmth. And those exercises are very handy to keep the mobility into the arms, but also as preparations for postures that require you to use upper body strength, and particularly arm balances, for instance. You don't have to necessarily go there, but it's good to keep that mobility in the joints. So this time we're going to take right hand to the left shoulder, and then we're going to turn. So it's that turning the key in. If you look towards your left thumb, it's going down, so then the shoulder comes in, that internal rotation, then come back up and to the other side. So you should feel, if you have your hand on the shoulder, that there's a little bit of movement there. Could feel like it's gliding, or it could feel like it's a rickety old key that hasn't been in that lock for 100 years. Whichever one it is, nothing alarming unless there is physical pain, in which case you would stop, of course. Release, and then over to the other side. So opening quite long into the arm, taking the left hand to the shoulder, and then the right thumb now is going down and turning in, so you have that internal rotation of the shoulder, then come back up and onto the other side. Good. And then release. Good, so your arms might feel hopefully a little bit more warmed up. Let's come forward onto our hands and knees. And if you're into your hands and knees here, now my legs, having been in this for quite a time now, I'm shaking them about. You can double up onto your mat, of course, as well, if you want to support the knees a little bit more. And then here, we'll stretch the left leg out. lift the leg and then bend the knee and take some hip rotations. So we're doing this just to make sure that we're balancing, even though we are focusing on the arms this morning. Do this 3 times in the other direction. We also want to have a little bit more of a rounded practice, if you like. So this time it's the other leg that stretches, bends the knee, and then about 3 in one direction, and 3 in the other direction. Good. And let's come back here to those arms. So from there you have currently the hands under the shoulders, the thumbs are pointing towards one another and the middle fingers are pointing forward. See whether you can, from this, start to have the fingers out to the side. So they're pointing to the outside of the mat, and as the case is for me, even off the mat. If that feels comfortable, you can maybe carry on by this time trying to point the fingers back towards you. Oh, and getting a deep stretch into those wrists. If the wrist doesn't come all the way down to the floor, no need to be alarmed. And perhaps if you do this a little bit more regularly, you will see that you can get there eventually. Or maybe not, maybe it'll never happen, and that's okay too. So very gently lift and release and lift and release. And then take your elbows to the floor and shake those hands about. And whilst you're there, have your head down and give a rest to your head as well. Let's take the forearms to the floor. And when we have the forearms to the floor, we want to roll the forearms in. So the shoulders are above the elbows, the hands are to the floor. Roll the forearms in so that you can feel the connection and you can feel that your upper arms are activating here. Press, so keep the knees under the hips. And if I put myself on the side, you might see this a little bit better. So I've rolled my forearms in, my upper arms are activating. And then here I'm going to gently round into the back and allow the head to go down. Then inhale and drop. So nothing more or less than cat-cow, but on the forearms essentially. Starting to feel that stretch into maybe the armpits, maybe the upper arms. And if I stay quiet for a moment, let's say for the next 2 breaths, then you can perhaps sense where you are feeling this a little bit more. Come back to neutral spine, bring their hands back to being under the shoulders so you can come back up. Now, of course, if this has been enough stretching for your wrists, and when we come down to the hands and knees, you can take your hands into fists so that your hands are straight rather than the fingers forward and the thumbs pointing towards one another. From this, we're going to come forward and down a little bit, so working into those arms. If you've got your fingers like this, or whether you've got your fists like this, make sure that it's to outer shoulder width. Keep the knees under the hips, and you're going to come forward, so bring yourself forward, then the elbows back, so the front of the elbows are facing towards the front of the mat. And you allow your chest to come down. Your nose touches the floor, and then you come back up. So it's working on your upper body strength, as mentioned before as well. Nose to floor, come back. Probably 3 is about enough, maybe just 1 is enough this morning too. Good, we're going to release the weight down onto our heels and then slowly release the forehead down to the floor. and curl yourself back up. Coming into our puppy posture here. Several ways of coming into your puppy posture really, or several depths depending on how you feel into the shoulders and into the pectorals as well. So you would have the knees a little further behind your hips and then plant your elbows down. Have the arms forward and you can either slide your bottom back so that the forehead's to the floor, and you may feel the stretch here, or you might even have the chin down towards the floor, and maybe even the chest all the way down to the floor. That depends on your flexibility, on the stretchiness, on your chest, on your breath. Make sure that there's no discomfort, so if you feel that the lower back is just caving in, then you can lengthen the tailbone back a little bit, so taking a little bit more core activity here, navel to the spine. Lastly, you could, if you wanted, take the arms a little bit closer towards one another and then take your reverse prayer here. One more breath. And then release. Come back. Bring the knees in. Come back into your child's posture. So forehead to the floor. The knees may be separated altogether. Cheek to one side maybe. Excellent. Calming back slowly. Gaze to the right, to the center and to the left. Now having warmed up into your upper body as well, let's see how now you feel into a down dog. It's an option. You can absolutely stay onto your hands and knees and maybe work in stretching those hands forward as well, so having an active child's posture where the chest is lifted, so you're essentially doing half a down dog. Otherwise here, again, you can also do this on your fists, or some of you will know that you can use your bricks as well, so you would have your thumbs pointing down, and those would be your helps to lift yourself up into a down dog here. I'm going to go with the more traditional option. Thumbs pointing forward, thumbs pointing towards one another, middle fingers forward, allowing the head to dangle, tucking the toes, hugging the muscles to the bones, and then lifting up, keeping those knees bent to start with. Pressing the floor away, allowing the head to dangle there. And then starting to have the thigh muscles pushing towards the thigh bones towards the hamstrings. Remember, you could be into an extended child's posture here if you wanted to, with elbows off the floor. And then come back down to the floor. Slowly release the weight onto your heels. And then we'll get ready here to repeat this if we want to. So get ready to repeat this. We're going to tuck the toes, press those hands down, bring the bottom towards the heels, and then lift ourselves up. Take a couple of breaths here. And then if you feel up to it, we're going to attempt releasing the forearm down. Any forearm, choose your forearm, then the other one goes down. So you're coming into a dolphin dog of some sort here. Can you come back into your down dog? So pressing onto the hand, lifting and then lifting again. Down dog. Stay for a couple of breaths. We're going to attempt this twice more. Alternatively, continue being into your child's pose with extended arms. So release the forearm and then the other. Stay there for a couple of breaths. Feel the work in the back body and maybe the shoulders and the arms too. Lift, lift. One last time. Down, down. Breathe. Up, up. Knees to the floor. Sit back into your heels. Everyone now slowly releasing yourselves back up. Shaking those arms about. And to finish in the stretching of those arms as well, we're going to work something magic. If I can work it out, of course, I shan't mention left and right because I will get it wrong. So from this, take one arm, any arm, on top of the other. So you're crossing at the elbow. Then your thumbs are both pointing up. You're going to make them point away from one another and then turning them in so they're thumb down. And then imagine you've got magnets so the hands come together. And then from here, you're going to thread as if you were making laces, knots in your laces. So you're going to come down. And then this way, your arms are linked. You can work now in breathing into the back of the body. Now, for some of you, the arms may be going straight away, or maybe it'll happen on the other side. It's neither in or there, it's about that good stretch into the arms. Let's release. Separate the palms. Again, turn them back up and releasing. Well done. How about we do this on the other side? So let's try this on the other side here. I've got the other arm on top. This time, thumbs point up. You're going to make them go down and down and down. So the palms meet. And then you're looping through and under and then trying to straighten the arms. Mine just want to separate. Didn't quite work out on this side, but the arms go a little bit straighter. And then you can round into your spine. Come back up. Release the arms out. Give those arms a little bit of a rest here. Come back to your starting point. Perhaps the palms facing up towards the ceiling here, or the arms on the side of the body. Close your eyes. Take a few breaths. And then to come back, we're going to take 3 breaths more. This time inhaling through the nose and exhaling loudly through the mouth. So inhale. 2 more. 1 more. Open your eyes. Take the arms up above the head. Release the thumbs in towards the forehead for kind thoughts, the lips for kind words, and the heart for kind actions. Namaste.